Good morning, Nate and Willie. Can you hear me? This is Miss Singletary. If you can hear me, you need to unmute.
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Okay, how you doing, Nate?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing just fine. We're trying to wait till some more individuals come in. We're not quite sure how many will be joining us, but we'll start in just a few, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Willie, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I sure can. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, we have Alberto. Alberto, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine.
Okay. We have Ebony that's joining us. We're gonna give her some time to connect to audio. Ebony, if you can hear me, this is Miss Singletary. Can you unmute yourself, please, ma'am? Ebony, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, how you doing this morning? Okay, right now we'll ask everyone to go ahead and mute yourself back again. I see that Alberto has done so. We're gonna start in a couple minutes. We're gonna see if anyone else needs to join us, and then we'll go ahead and begin. Okay, you guys, we're just waiting for Mr. Willie Leathers. He's one of our adjunct professors, for him to join us, and then we'll go ahead and start. Okay, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and start. Mr. Willie is gonna be joining us as soon as he can get his devices up and running. You're gonna see in frame Miss Coward right now. I'm sitting at the computer. I'm gonna come in the frame right quick so you can see me. I'm Miss Singletary. This is Miss Coward. I am your Network Security and Information Assurance Program Director. Ms. Coward is our Programming Director. And what we want to do is we're going to go over some of the things that you can expect here during this fall. Things are a little different. We're used to seeing you guys inside the classroom and talking and interacting with you, but this is going to be the next best thing. But I promise you, we're so used to doing this because we had to do this over the summer. It's going to be an easy walk. Now, what we're going to ask you to do is during this time to just continue to be on mute. If you have any questions throughout this, please make sure that if you can jot it down, then at the end, what we're going to ask you to do is to unmute yourself and then also make sure that you show your video so we can actually see you and answer any questions that you may have. Now, don't hesitate if throughout, if something is pressing, you're like, oh, I need to stop Ms. Singletary, I need to stop Ms. Coward and ask something now. Just make sure if you can go ahead and raise your hand in there or unmute yourself and we can hear you. And we'll make sure to stop so we can make sure that we can answer any of those questions that you have, okay? So at this time, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen. We have a little presentation that we're gonna go through to help us navigate what we need to talk about. And again, if you have any questions, you'll see at the bottom of your screen where it should say chat. The only thing you need to do, any questions that you have in there while we're talking, you can ask your question there. And we'll go to see what it is and we'll unmute yourself and at that time ask your question, okay? So right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna go to our presentation for the department, okay? Now, we're gonna go over an introduction to the department, give you some information that you'll need not only about the computer technology department, but there are majors, things that you want to make sure that you can expect while you're here as a student of OC Tech. And like I said, if throughout this presentation, if you have any questions that needs immediate attention, please make sure you go to the bottom of your screen where you're going to see there's a chat option. If you click on that option, that gives you the ability to go in and ask any questions that you may have. If we don't see it, please don't blame our hearts. It's just simply our minds. Maybe we didn't see it at the time while we're talking, but we'll definitely make sure that once we're at the end of the presentation, that we'll get to those questions, okay? Now, we're gonna talk a little bit about the profile of the typical OC Tech students, and a lot of these figures have changed even in the course of this last semester. But we want to talk a little bit about how diverse our campus really is. We have a plethora of options that you can have throughout your tenure here with regards to degrees, certificates, being able to take some of those courses night, day, online. And that's what makes us so unique with regards to our offerings. We always say that within this department, we like to treat you all as family, okay? So all that simply means is if you need us, we're there for you. Even if you need Ms. D, let's say Ms. D's in her class, she's conducting classes, but you have a question that's pressing. If I'm in the office, by all means, come in there. I'm pretty sure that whatever it is that you need to ask Ms. D, I can help you with that and vice versa, okay? We're also very approachable as well because we do recognize in these days and times, some things may actually be pressing at that point. If something is wrong, you need us, or both of us or several of us are in classes at that time, we just simply ask, just come to our door, kind of look through, and I promise you, we'll probably see you peeking through our window. A lot of students will tell you that where it's something that may be pressing at that time, we have no problems in coming to the door or you coming in and just kind of standing by there if it's something that you need for us at that time. That's one of the things that we pride ourselves with regards to that. We also have really good retention rates. And what that means is If you're here during the fall, the likelihood of you coming back and finishing what you need to throughout the next semester, in that case, it would be the spring semester, is really good. And we like that because that means, again, that we're taking you as our family, okay? Anything that you need, we're there. It's not only our job, it's just simply who we are, okay? And especially here on campus. So you make sure that you have that, all right? Now, as always, women rule the world. It's more of us here on campus than it is of the guys, but guess what? We couldn't do this without you all here. All that simply means though, and again, these figures have changed because we're seeing an influx or increase in those percentages. So a lot of this has changed. So especially now, where we're leaning more to a technological world, so many of us need to be more versed and capable to make sure that we can conduct things not only online, but just remotely. So we're beginning to see a huge increase in that. So that's actually a really good thing that you will begin to see, okay? Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk a little bit about the program requirements that we have here on campus within the computer technology department, all right? We currently have 2 concentrations for degrees. We have the network security and information assurance. We also have the programming concentration as well, okay? Now, we're going to go over not only the requirements for those, but we're also going to talk a little bit about what are the various opportunities. One of the things that students ask us when they come in, they know, hey, Ms. Singletary, Ms. Coward, I know I'm interested in computers. I don't know exactly what area, what are those areas, what all does that entail? So that's what we want to talk a little bit about. And if you're in this field or in this major, then some of the things and some of the words that you've probably heard before, like certifications, PC support, you know, PC repair, troubleshooting, Linux, all those things are some of the key words that you've probably heard. And we're going to talk a little bit about what are those things. Is it a requirement? Is it a good thing that we do that? So we're going to talk about that. The last thing in that area that we'll talk about is our stackable credentials, and we'll tell you what exactly that is. Another thing that we're proud of ourselves within this department is we have several certificates that you have. So again, you have those 2 program degrees. You have network security information assurance, and you also have programming. And what we've done is, in our field, we have to be really knowledgeable about a lot of different things. So there's concentrations that you can actually major in while you're also completing your degree. For instance, I'll take Ms. D's area programming. Even though your degree would be in programming, you also have what we call a stackable credential that you can actually earn, which is in that case an Oracle or database certificate. And that's really good because we're seeing an increase in that area. But the good thing is it's already incorporated within the degree itself. So you can't get much better that you're actually getting your degree, and while you're completing the required courses, it also signifies that you have completed areas within that certificate. So not only are you going to be graduating with a degree, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be graduating also too with at least 1 or several certificates along the way. And again, we'll explain that to you. Okay. Now here you have the different career paths. We're going to talk a little bit about that and what exactly that means. Again, going back, we have 2 concentrations: network security, information assurance, and programming. Okay. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the network security and the PC support, and I'm going to have Ms. D talk a little bit about the programming and what you can expect there. But before we do that, we're going to tell you a little bit about ourselves and how we kind of got here, okay? I got here essentially through, of course, majoring in computer science and mathematics while I was completing my undergraduate degree. And during that time, in really still now, going to your traditional 4-year university, if you major in computer science, the only option we had at that time, computer science, was programming. And in a sense, it still is programming. And I graduated, first job, programming. And I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I like this. But I enjoyed the money. It was always that. So when you're young, that was probably the major factor. Hey, it's the money. Then as I went further along, I'm like, okay, I want something that's going to be, you know, more interesting and conducive to me. So around that time, we were facing something that was called Y2K. So a lot of you probably don't even know what that was. Essentially, the year 2000 was upon us. Everyone was going crazy. Oh my God, the computers are going to shut down. It's going to be the end of the world. We had all this stuff that was going on. So a lot of our programmers, we were working overtime, trying to make sure that nothing goes down. Everything is still operational. And guess what happened? That night, I had to work overtime. We had to be on call. We had to be right there on site. We didn't know what was going on. Again, they were telling us the end of the world was upon us. I was scared. Guess what happened? Absolutely nothing. We're still here. Still everything was fine. The only issue that we had was probably one company, I think it was in China at the time, where their computer systems had a little glitch because computers was not ready to be adaptable to handle the year 2000, which in that case was 00. So that was the only thing. Nothing happened at all. But during that time, we had a shift. And that shift that happened is all of us were working as programmers. And we quickly found ourselves where our companies or our organizations were saying, hey, we thought we needed all these programmers at the time, but now we don't. You know, Y2K came, nothing happened, we're still here. So we might not need as many individuals. So what happened is we started to see a shift or a change where other stuff was coming about. And in this case, we had the internet that was coming. The internet itself was booming or beginning to boom. And a lot of you probably grew up in a world where you just automatically had the internet. We didn't. So we were learning as we were working. So you had to really kind of adapt to those changes. And the next year came probably the most drastic change ever to occur, not only with the world, but then also to us in the technological field. We had 9/11 that happened the following year. So when 9/11 happened, we began to see an increase of the need for security. And not security just from a physical standpoint, but security also with regards to technology. How can we make sure that our computers, our networks, and everything else is more secure? So during that time as working as a programmer, I find myself very inquisitive. I've always been that type of individual. I don't like to sit down and I'm not doing anything. So I will, you know, go around and ask people what they were doing and talk to my supervisor at that time, like, you know, hey, I want to learn something else. So along the line, I learned web development, became a webmaster for a university, then found my way in, at that time we call it telecommunications, which was the phone side of everything, PC repair, and then eventually in network security. And that's what I really loved, because every day was something different. It gave me an opportunity to talk to individuals. I'm a people person. So I found myself in several different areas. So along my journey, before I came to OC Tech, my career remained the same within this field, but it changed. So I went from programmer, webmaster, computer operations, network security, and the last full-time private sector job that I have within this field was as an IT director for a healthcare facility network. And it was just a lot during that time. And in that time, received my master's, went in for doctoral hours, and someone said, hey, got a good opportunity for you to teach. What do you feel? I don't know if I can teach because I gotta have patience and everything else, and I'm not sure, but it was probably one of the best decisions that I made, because it gave me an opportunity to still do stuff on the private sector, but then also to teach. So that's how I got here. Now I'm gonna let Ms. D tell us a little bit about herself and how she got here. And I promise you, she is very, very interesting. So she had a little different track, but we both ended up in the same spot. So I'm gonna let Ms. D tell us a little bit about herself.
Well, actually, I started here at OC Tech. Graduated from high school, and that summer, my dad, he was like, well, you're going to either find a job or go in the military. So I went in, I joined the reserves, and then I came back and I re-enrolled at OC Tech and graduated with my programming degree. I started here part-time in the tutoring center, and a position opened up in the IT department, and I applied for it and I got it. And during that time, I was at Claflin pursuing my bachelor's degree. But once I started working here full-time, that's when I really got into programming. Just pulling reports and filling information or requests that individuals were requesting. As a programmer, you're going to have to be able to have very good time management skills. There are times when you're going to be given assignments and you're going to have to complete them yourself, and you're going to have to be able to manage your time productively so you can complete the task. Once I finished my bachelor's, I went on and did my master's with Lesley University, and then pursued or started my doctoral degree, but then got to the dissertation part and I was like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna write a book. So the opportunity presented itself out here. I left my applications analyst position here at OC Tech, and I went to State Tech, the South Carolina Technical College system up in Columbia, and I worked there for almost a year, and gas prices started going up, and $5, $6 a gallon, driving an SUV that was not gonna be in my budget. So I found my way back home at OC Tech, and I worked with Adult Ed for a year and a half as an IT consultant, technology consultant. After I did that, a position came open for an instructor part-time. I interviewed, I got it, and then I was like, this is what I like doing. So I've been teaching now for, this is 2020, 9 years, and I've been here at OC Tech for almost 21 years. So programming, you have to love it. You have to love what you do, because it's gonna become times where you feel like, I'm just sick of this. I'm just sick of these requests. I'm sick of these people asking for stuff and they're not sure what they want. But that's something you're gonna have to love. And with the starting salary, when I started back here in, I think that was 2000. Yeah, that was end of 99, 2000. I started off with a decent salary. But here you got to understand you're in Orangeburg. Nationally and regionally, nationally 61, regionally 45. In order to make more money, you have to do other things to supplement your income if you need that, or you have to move where the money is. Here at OC Tech, in our programming department, we will, or you will, have access to Java. We will do a little bit of mobile apps. We will do HTML, make your websites, design and develop those. You will get a vast selection or exposure to different programming languages and opportunities. You will be writing programs. You won't just be writing a paper about programming. You will actually be programming. That's why you're definitely gonna need your laptop, and I try to access programming languages where you can download the software that you need for free. We always try to be cost effective in in this department. But, you know, that's a little bit about me. Prior military, Gulf War veteran, so no nonsense. I want my work when I ask for it, no excuses. So just make sure if you're in my classes, just do your work and we will get along fine. And I'm gonna turn it back over to Ms. Secretary.
I don't know if y'all caught that. She was just trying to say, hey, get your work done. I'm not gonna be playing with you. With the network security side of things, we have to be a little bit more flexible. So even though your major may not be programming, you will have to take a programming class. And the reason being is because we're in the field where we have to make sure that we provide security for all types of platforms. So just because you're not going to be probably a full-time quote-unquote programmer, you still need to know a little bit about a lot of different stuff. And also too, we're being fair, also the programmers. You're going to have to take a lot, or not a lot, but you're going to have to take some of those different courses. So you're going to take a networking course because you need to know how to do that as well. So you begin to see that. The good thing though is when those jobs become available, you'll have the knowledge that you need to at least get past that interview, because I promise you, Ms. D can attest to this. Every job that we've ever had in this field, you had to get trained for it. I don't care what it is. Coming to school does not prepare you 100% for the exact job position that you're gonna have. It's just like anything else inside this world. You have to be trained in that. You're gonna go to one company, they probably have Cisco devices. You're gonna go to another one, they're gonna have Marconi. You go to another one, they're probably gonna have Dell. You are going to have to be adaptable, okay? You have to be adaptable. You have to be a people person. You have to know how to make sound decisions on your own, okay? We work a lot on our own, but then at the same time, we work a lot with individuals. So within this computer department, we're gonna give you a lot of projects where you have to work with people. That is our life, okay? Now, also within our area, meaning the network security area, a lot of our things, if not really everything that we do, is going to be simulated and virtualized. And all that means is you're gonna be working on the equipment that actually is probably elsewhere, physically sitting, but you're gonna have access to that and you still have to make sure how to do that, or in a simulated environment where the devices look exactly and are exactly how it would look in what we call the career field. And you have to make sure that you know how to actually provide support for that. And that's good because in these days and times, because we're dealing with this pandemic, we're not physically here on campus. So that gives you a real world look. This is what you're gonna be doing now. Because we have a lot of students that come in and say, hey, Ms. Secretary, Ms. D, I don't like working, you know, virtually. Guess what? Your first job might actually be at home. We've been at home for the past, what, 5 months? And so this is nothing new to us. We've had our students working on this for several years. So our students were adapt already to working on or within a simulated and virtualized environment. The only problem was, hey, I don't have Ms. D and Ms. Secretary over my neck, you know, popping me in my head when I get out, then I don't physically see them. But I promise you, you were required in Ms. D's class, you still had to show up to do whatever it is you need to when she had her lectures. If it was anything that you needed me for, you still had to show up. I didn't take office hours just over the phone. I wanted to see you. Everything was virtualized and via Zoom because that gives me or gives us a connection to you, okay? Now, Ms. D touched a little bit about these salaries, and like Ms. D said, you know, you got to think about where you are. We often tell our students, hey, if you're coming into this field and you're expecting to actually stay in Orangeburg, it's probably not going to happen. The top employers that we have within Orangeburg County and surrounding areas locally, because it is rural, is the hospital and the educational system. That's our two top employers for our students. And one thing you got to recognize is if people are staying within this area, they're not trying to leave. Their family is here. We have students that are probably already married, so they have roots and connection here. You all probably do, but those of you that are probably single or your spouses are saying, hey, you know, I'm willing to move. Then we see a lot of our students actually doing that. So prepare yourself, and you're going to hear us say it later on, for life outside of Orangeburg. You got to be able to move and explore. And then also too, like I said, a lot of times your home-based organization may actually be in Utah, but you're working from home. So you will see things like that, okay? These salaries fluctuate. This is just an average, okay? But for some real numbers, what we saw over the past year with regards to the jobs that our individuals or our graduates actually had, a lot of them when they first graduate, a lot of them first go into the support area. So they become support technicians, okay? So within that area, the average that we've seen was 45, probably about 45,000 with them starting. And I promise you, that is a good start. It really, really is. Within our field, as you go on, it is not uncommon that you can go and increase your yearly income by around anywhere from 10 to 20,000 within that first year, because then you have experience. Some of you are going to get certifications, and we'll talk a little bit about that. So it's really on you, okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit about our course offerings and things that you will begin to see here within not only our area, but then also throughout campus. So you have the option of doing online courses, traditional, which is of course face-to-face, hybrid, and that's usually the one that everyone is like, what is a hybrid, okay? All that simply is a course where you have a mixture between an online component and face-to-face, okay? Now, our courses, when it first starts next week, which is August the 17th, are going to be completely online. You will not come on campus, okay? Everything that you will do will be within D2L. You'll have access to that, and it will be completed online. You will not physically come on campus, okay? But as of right now, September 21st, those courses that you have, so some of you, if you look at your schedule, you probably have a course that might be on Mondays and Wednesdays. You have some courses that may be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. What will happen then is we're going to offer it within a hybrid setting. So we're going to have you all in groups, okay? And what we mean by in groups, you'll be all in the same course. But remember I said, if your courses are offered on Mondays and Wednesdays or Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're going to have one group that would only come on Mondays, if it's a Monday, Wednesday course. Then the second group will come to us on Wednesdays. So again, if you have a course that meets on Mondays and Wednesdays, we're going to have our students in groups, and we'll talk a little bit about that once you get inside the course. You'll have one half of the class that will physically come in on Mondays. The other half will come in on Wednesdays, okay? So make sure you jot that down if at the end, if you have any questions, so we can clarify any misconceptions that you may actually have about that. And that's really just to make sure that we're practicing social distancing. We want to make sure that you all are protected, that we're protected. So that's why we actually have that, okay? We also offer day and night classes. We don't have a lot over in this department because traditionally our students enjoy the online option that you have. So a lot of them are like, hey, if I am working full-time, I prefer to have the online option so I can get that done. Some of us have families and kids and everything else that you're responsible for, and also you're working full-time. And one thing that we do here in this department, we work with your schedule. We understand the importance of family. We understand the importance of making a living outside of that, because some of you are probably coming in and you have to work full-time and you're like, I can't come in, you know, on something because 9 to 5, I'm at work full-time. We will work with you. The only thing we ask you is you have got to do your part. We'll do our part, but you got to do yours. And in that case, we call that independent study, okay? And again, we offer that within our area. We cannot answer anything with regards to independent study options in any other department. We can't tell you what the English department will do. We can't tell you what engineering technology would do. We can tell you what the CPT department will do, okay? But definitely our courses, if it's something that you need to work around, we will definitely work with you. But with that being said, I want to reiterate, you have got to do your part, okay? You've got to do your part, even in these courses here, because remember, we're starting completely online come, next week, Monday. So August 17th, you want to get yourself in the habit of logging in every day. And if you say, oh, I'm gonna try, that's so hard. I don't know why, but students will say that. Get yourself in the habit. I tell my students, log in on a Sunday, because typically our courses, when we have due dates, 9 times out of 10, we like things to be due probably on a Sunday, Monday morning. So log in Sunday and Monday, log in again probably Wednesday. Even if you've completed what you think all your work for the week, log in again to make sure you hadn't missed anything, okay? Then also too, log in again on Friday. So you would have logged in Sunday and Monday, Wednesday, which is the middle of the week, and again on Friday, just in case you might say, hey, it's the weekend, I want to relax. You're relaxing and maybe something came up, Ms. D put something in her class and you would have missed it. Maybe it was some extra credit opportunity. Doesn't mean that something is necessarily mandatory, but it might be extra credit or something. So you want to make sure that you have that. Or maybe something happened over the weekend or right before the weekend and we need to give you an announcement. Definitely check that, because it's so much in these days and times that is out of our control. We need to make sure that we talk to you and let you know what you're missing, okay? We already talked about those flexible options, what we have in our area. What we're going to do now is we're going to go in and we're going to show you how these courses actually look. We're going to go in and take a look at our courses within D2L. I might have to log back in so you can see that right quick. And what I'm doing is I'm logging into D2L, or our Desire to Learn area. This is where you will go to do or access a lot of your material that you'll have. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you one of the courses from the summer, because what's happening, we don't have anything open just yet within our content for our fall classes. You should have logged in our fall classes and probably see a message from us kind of telling you some directives for what you want to have for the semester. But we're going to show you exactly how, or an example of how this looks within D2L. I'm going to take a look at our CPT 101 course. And CPT 101 is our Introduction to Computer course. It's an intro course, or what we call a feeder course, that almost everyone on campus has to take. And we're going to talk about where some of these things are located and what you need to make sure that you have access to. So in all of your courses, if you see over here on the right-hand side, all of your professors should have their office hours and ways to actually get in contact with them, okay? Now, the way that I do my office hours, because we have virtual office hours, is right here. If you click on my link, this will take you to my office hours that are virtually between now and really this entire time. But you'll see here where you can schedule meeting times with myself. You'll have other individuals that'll probably have times, actual times there. So they'll tell you exactly when they'll be online and when you can schedule some time for them. And with mine, the only thing you need to do is click on something, set up a time, and we can meet during that. So if you click on that, it'll give you some options of some times that you can have with me. And again, this is just the way that I do it. Other teachers will go in and they'll probably have something where they can go in and they're telling you the days and times that they'll be available to you. Now, I'm gonna have to go back because what I did is clicked off D2L. So I need to make sure I log back in so you can see that. All right, going back to the course here, CPT 101. Another important area is this main page. You want to read everything that your instructors actually have here, because if the professor puts something out here, if it's an announcement, it's going to be right in this area right here, okay? And I often tell my students, I'm like, hey, you have got to read. And that's something, I don't know what's going on. Y'all don't like to read. Reading is going to be so important, especially during these days and times. So read these things that we have here. We'll tell you a little bit about the course itself. I have office hours, and another thing that we rely heavily on in this department is Remind. Some of you might have had that within high school. Some of you probably have already had courses on campus and you're probably familiar with Remind, but definitely read this part with how you would actually connect to us. Remind is an application that you can use on your phone where it gives us direct access to you via your cell phone. We can send text messages to you. You can send text messages to us. We can give you quick announcements, and we rely heavily on that. So definitely make sure that you look at that area, okay? The next important area that you want to make sure that you look at is here where it says content. So if you go to content, this is typically where you should see in courses, if you click on overview, that's where you would see our syllabus. A lot of us, as soon as you click on overview, you'll see the syllabus right here. Some people may actually have a link that says syllabus over in the left-hand corner, and you would click there to see that. It's very important that you read the syllabus to see exactly what we require and things that you need to make sure that you know, okay? So it's very important that you make sure that you take a look at the syllabus itself. Some professors will probably go in and actually have not only the syllabus, but they may have their outline for the semester in a Word document. So we try to make sure that we're as uniform as we can be on campus, but definitely within our department, everything that you need will be here in content, okay? Now, here, if you look at content, you'll see where all of your required assignments will be located within this content area. So it's very important that you look at this. Now, if you recall when I said earlier that within our department, we actually offer a lot of things that you have to complete via simulations and virtualization. So a lot of these things would take you to an application that's outside of D2L. So for example, our CPT 101, our CPT 170 course, those courses actually utilize something that's called Mindtap. So what's going to happen is we'll have something here that'll tell you what to expect with regards to how to utilize those applications that take you outside of D2L. And all of your assignments, even though we have the assignments located within D2L, you will actually complete those outside of that. So I want to show you a little bit how that kind of looks. So you'll see how we complete things within this area, okay? Now again, Mindtap is offered through our publisher, which is Cengage. And this gives us a way for you to learn the technology that we're teaching you or that you're learning during that time. And then it'll also give you hands-on. So it's a really cute and interactive way to see things via video, and then also practicing a lot of the stuff that you'll learn about. So it's really important that, and really not even important, it's a requirement, that everyone that is a student of OC Tech must have a computer and or access to a computer, and definitely access to reliable internet services. I can't tell you that enough, okay? It's going to be something that you need. So if you're here already on with us, that means that you already have that, but you want to make sure that you maintain that. It is imperative that if you have any issues that you reach out to us. This is your responsibility, okay? This is your responsibility. You have any issues, if you need something, if you're lacking something, you have got to let us know. Otherwise, we're not going to understand that. We're not going to know. We're just simply thinking you're not doing work, and we don't know that something has happened or occurred and you didn't make us aware. So please make sure that you do that. But this is just an example of how you would access something that will be outside of the scope of those things that you see. And again, this is all within D2L. Again, most important, first homepage of the course itself. Pay attention to our office hours and how to contact us, all on the far right-hand side. And definitely content. This is where all of your assignments should be, okay? It should look similar to what you see here, but again, you have some professors that may do something different. And if you have any questions, please make sure that you reach out to us and ask us so we can help you. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you tell us of any issues that you may actually have, okay? The first day of class, what's important? You've got to show up. And you're like, hey, how am I going to show up to a class that's not meeting face-to-face? You have got to send us an email saying, hey, I'm here, I'm in the course. You've got to log in because we're looking at that. So every time you log in, if you log in, we see you. If you don't log in, we see that too. So if we don't have a login from you during that first day of classes, you have some professors that will drop you that very first day. That's what we're supposed to do. They're going to drop you, okay? So please make sure that you have logged into your course or whatever requirement that your professors have, that you actually adhere to that to make sure that you have that. So that's why you want to make sure that you have that, because that's how we're tracking your attendance. That's how we're tracking to make sure that you're actually there. One of the things that we get is questions about textbooks. You guys, you've got to make sure that you get the material that you need. It's like the first thing that we have on there. So if you go to our class, especially now during the fall, the first thing you're going to see is a message from us that says the book that you need and what's going to be required. So make sure that you have that, okay? Please make sure that you have that. Anything that you need with regards to what is going to be required is going to be located at the bookstore. Or if there's some other different method, we'll talk about that. So each one of us, the very first day of class, we're probably going to ask you to log in. We're going to be talking during that time. So even though we're not physically meeting, the very first day of classes, we're going to have a Zoom with you so you can log in and we can tell you about the expectation of those courses and everything. So please make sure that you adhere to that. And you'll see the message when we'll send something out that says, hey, even though we're not meeting physically, we are meeting to make sure during this time so we can talk about the expectations and what you will have there. So those classroom expectations for that course, we'll definitely give it to you during that first week, okay? Another thing that I want to show you right quick, you also are going to have to utilize something that's called self-serve, okay? In self-serve, you actually will access that through Connect, okay? This is going to be access through Connect. I can't really get there now because I'm sharing my screen, but that's fine. It's going to look a little different because you guys are students. So this is where you will go to for your grades, your financial aid, so anything that you need. Now I'm going to click here. If you see where it says student finance, if you click on this and you're an actual student, this is where you can find out information about your financial aid, okay? And you need to make sure that you understand that just because you're registered does not mean that you're going to be authorized to take those courses. Your financial aid has to be in place before the start of the semester. So what does that mean? Probably by Friday, you need to make sure that your financial aid is there and together. So by the time it's start time on Monday, you can be ready to go. Otherwise, your schedule can be dropped. So if you're seeing courses now, then all of a sudden, Friday or Monday, you log in, you don't see any courses, that means 9 times out of 10, something is wrong with your financial aid. So if you have not done so, I implore you, please contact the financial aid department that's located in Building S so they can make sure that everything is squared away for you, okay? I can't tell you that enough. Also, 2 things that you can see here, student planning. When we advise you, you'll see a list of courses that you'll have to take during your tenure here, and that's going to be really important for you to kind of see that and see what it is that's going to be required. Also, too, for midterms and finals, this is where you will see your grades. So right here where it says grades, that's where you want to go to make sure, hey, what is my midterm grades? What's my final grades? This is where you will go. A lot of times we'll have things within D2L, Test Out or Mindtap. Your grades will be located there, but this is where it matters because remember, we're human. Sometimes you can go and the whole time you can have an A and maybe because again, we're human, you're supposed to have an A, we inadvertently put a B there. That's why it's so important to check behind that so you understand your grades. So we'll have that. Typically what happens within our department, we try to make sure that we put the grades in at least a week before grades are actually due. That gives us enough time that if there's any discrepancies, we can actually address that, okay? Go back to our presentation right quick. I know we're supposed to be done by 11, but we may run a little bit over, but you guys will be okay. We'll make sure that you get out and can get back in there, but this is really important for the things that you need to know. Our academic calendar. Our academic calendar is where you want to make sure that you look at all of these dates. And this is going to be important because remember, we're dealing with something that is different. Every day, something could change. So you want to make sure that you understand what's going to be required. Right now, this is a tentative fall schedule that we have. But again, because of COVID, we don't know what's going to change. But as we know anything or any changes that you may have, we'll be sure to make sure that we give that information to you. But this is where you can see your tentative fall, spring, and summer schedules. So make sure you look at this and these deadlines, which is real important because there's things here that you need to know. For instance, we have here August the 12th and 13th, no classes, okay? And all that means is this week, we don't have any classes, but the first start is, again, like we said, August the 17th. That first week, that's gonna be very important. So if you have any classes that you need to add or you need to drop, you wanna make sure that you do that within the first week. So all next week, you have to make sure that if there's any classes that you need to add, any courses that you need to drop, so it wouldn't be anything that's charged against you, we have to do that during the first week. That is imperative. So if you have any questions that you have on that, please make sure that you reach out to Ms. D and myself so we can get you squared away on that. Financial aid, going back to that. You guys, the knowledge that we have about financial aid is very limited. We deal with the academic side of things, but we will tell you or be able to guide you to where you need to go for various questions. So if there's anything that you need, please ask us and we would tell you to whom you need to contact. So financial aid is the financial aid department. Please make sure that you reach out to them if you have any questions about that. Anything else or other services on campus, please let us know and if we don't know the answer, we'll find out for you. So that is imperative, okay? We already talked about Connect and D2L. We're not gonna harp on that. We're gonna talk a little bit more about how and where to look at for your schedule and grades within D2L and Connect. So we're gonna go back here and I'm gonna pull up one of our students, previous students. We have permission from her. So, I'm gonna show you how this kind of looks on you guys' side with how to look at your program itself. I might not be able to do it. You know what? We can't do it on this side, Ms. D. That's okay. We have permission from another one because we're going to show you a past student and then another one from a current one. Where's Inga? Okay, Inga's right here. I have his permission that I can take a look at this. So we're gonna look at Inga's eval. This is where you will go in to take a look at your courses, what's gonna be required for you to complete your items, okay? When you come in and you talk to us, we're gonna talk to you about the courses that you need. We're gonna talk about when those courses are offered, or if that course isn't offered, some substitutions that we may need. So that's why it's important that you talk to us as your advisors. The ladies and gentlemen in Building S have done a wonderful job up to this point of getting you here. You are now enrolled within our department. You need to see us, okay? You need to see us so we can get you on the right path to make sure that you're taking the right courses. You did what you needed to do with your academic advisor in the very beginning when you first got into to school. Now everything is done with us. So it's imperative that you do that. So this is how this actually looks with regard to what you need and courses that are left. If you click here where it says Unofficial Transcript, this is where you can take a look at the courses that you've had and the courses that you need. It generates a PDF and goes in and tells you or shows you right now the courses that you've taken, your grades, GPA, and this is where this is really important right here with regards to what you have, what do you need to take. So in this case, this student is supposed to have a total of 87 credit hours, and the next column tells us what he actually has completed. So right now we know that this student needs at least 5 credit hours before he can graduate. So that's why it's important to take a look at that. And again, it probably can look a little confusing, but that's why we're here to help you. So again, if you have any questions, that's why Ms. D and I are here. So please make sure that you reach out to us for any of those questions that you actually have. Another thing that you can look at is if you go to your timeline, this tells us every course that you've had throughout your tenure, when you need to complete items, how far along. If you click on progress, this tells you an indication of what is again required if you completed any of those things or all of those things. So we'll see here what you actually need. So this is very important, and this gives you an idea for the things that are lacking and what you need to complete. So in this area right here, we'll see where this student has completed all of these items, but we'll see where he needed 2 more, which he is now registered in. So that is what you begin to see. And again, you're not going to remember all this stuff. That's why it's important to come into us so we can help you. Or if we're still virtual, this is why we share our screen, so we'll go through these things with you, okay? Now, I'm gonna go back to here. Man, they only gave us an hour, and I promise you we always go over. But we're gonna go ahead and finish this up with some of the most important things that you have. We talked a little bit already about advising and registration and how that is important. Again, we are your advisors. We are here for you. If you are not here, we're not here. So we understand that. That's why it's important that if you need us, we're here for you. So please make sure that you reach out to us. Like I said, making appointments, this is going to be important. We don't just have those office hours out there for anything. We have those office hours out there to give you days and times that are conducive for us. But because it's feasible for us, it may not be feasible for you. Just reach out to us, give us a call, send us an email. If it's something else that you need or a different day and time you need to meet, we'll do our best to make sure that we accommodate that for you. We already talked about the program eval. That was what we just went over before we got to this screen. Let's talk a little bit about the GPA. The minimum GPA that is required for OC Tech is a 2.0. If you fall at any time below a cumulative GPA of a 2.0, you go into something that is called financial aid or probation or academic probation. And that's academic probation 1. So they kind of give you a warning. They're saying, hey, John Doe, you have fallen below a 2.0. We're warning you. You got to pass these classes that you're going to be enrolled in next semester. If not, we're going to put you on full academic probation, which means you have to sit out for at least 1 semester. And that sucks. And the reason why it sucks is because the next semester that you come back, they're gonna say, hey, we gotta make sure that this money that we're giving you from the federal government, you're gonna do right by it. So that next semester that you come in, 9 times out of 10, guess who's gonna have to pay for that? Not the federal government, you. And that's why that's important, okay? Because we'll have students that get in a rut, they won't talk to us, they won't tell us that they're having issues with some of these classes. Next thing I know, they're on financial aid or academic probation. They have to sit out for a semester, and we can't help them. Because remember, we can't see all of your grades in all of these other courses, okay? It's up to you to come and say, hey, Ms. Singletary, I'm having some issues in Ms. Deborah Jones' course. And that's where I come in as your advisor, sit down and talk to you and say, okay, what we need to do, you need to reach out to Ms. Jones, send her an email, set up an appointment time. We got to tell you what it is that you need to do. A lot of us will work with you, but we can't work with you if we don't know what all is going on. So that's why that is really important. We're going to talk about withdrawals. What is a withdrawal? Well, a withdrawal says something has occurred and this student cannot complete this course by the end of the semester. It may be something that's going on with financial aid. Maybe you have an issue with work, childcare, whatever it is. You need to let us know. Because if that's the case, you want to withdraw from the course so it won't be hurt you for the time being academically, okay? So what will happen is you'll go to that professor or all of your professors and say, this has occurred, I need to withdraw from school or that course. And what they'll do is they'll give you either a WP or WF. A WP means at the time when you withdrew from the course, you were passing it. Or at the time that you withdrew from the course, you were failing it. So that's important, okay? It doesn't hurt you in the very beginning, but if you do that too many times, what happens is the federal government says, hey, John Doe was attempting 60 credit hours. He has only completed 10 credit hours. He's not progressing. So we're not gonna give him any more financial aid. That is not good. So that's why you wanna make sure that you don't always do that. That's a last resort. Another thing that you have is an incomplete. What is an incomplete? Well, that means you actually went all the way through the end of the semester. Then something happened at the end of the semester. We have students, especially now with this, we had students that got all the way through the end of the semester, and unfortunately, they contracted COVID-19, they got sick, so we had to give them an incomplete. They were doing everything up until then, got sick, we're gonna give you an incomplete because they've basically almost done everything that they needed to, but something came up that was out of your control, and we had to give you an incomplete until things get better so you can actually complete your remaining items that you need for that semester. That's fine. And we'll work with you. But that's something that we also need to know so we can get that done. We see where students, you know, won't say anything. Closed mouth cannot get fed. We're here for you because if you're not here, we're not here, okay? This just shows us how Connect actually looks. We're not gonna stay that long on there because they should have told you this and shown you this during the orientation. So that's why I'm gonna skip that because we're already running over time. I wanna make sure we can get to any questions that you actually may have. That just tells us about D2L class calendar. All that says is, again, with our class calendar, everything is located within D2L underneath content. That's where you would have that. Okay, talk a little bit about transferring to a four-year college or university. Within our area, our department, we have what we call matriculation agreements with the following colleges and universities. Columbia College, which is located within Columbia. There, you have a matriculation agreement that says you have received your degree from OC Tech within the computer technology department. And what you can do is you can come to our college and you can complete your bachelor's within 2 years. They accept all of your course credits. So the colleges that we have that with, again, is Columbia College, USC Upstate, and USC Low Country, okay, which is located in Beaufort. So we have that. That does not mean that you can't go to Clemson. Does not mean you can't go to UGA, LSU, South Carolina State, Claflin. It just simply means those 3 colleges or universities that we name says we are going to accept all of your course credit. You can come in and you should be able to finish your bachelor's degrees within 2 years. And then sometimes it's probably even less, okay? So that's where you begin to see that. We're proponents of education. We just sat here and told you that we went all the way through to doctoral school. We believe in lifelong learning. So we're gonna talk to you, we're gonna advocate for, hey, go ahead and get your bachelor's. But guess what? You're in a field that honestly, things have changed. We needed to have our bachelor's back when we first began. Now, 2 years, you guys are coming out and definitely making more money than Ms. D and I did when we first got our 4-year degree. So things have changed. Okay, so we've already talked about financial aid, but one thing you want to make sure, OC Tech is really good with giving you information about scholarships that are readily available. So by all means, make sure that you continuously check the website for financial aid opportunities or scholarship opportunities. It's really good to look at that. So that's a very important part of this. So please make sure that you can do that. We already kind of talked about what makes a successful student, you know, with that. And I'm gonna make a long story short. What makes a successful student is a student that wants to actually be here, that has a plan. They see their future beyond OC Tech. They see their future beyond Orangeburg, Calhoun County, Bamberg, Carlton. They see themselves in a whole different light. And when you become that student, all these things here will fall in line. Your time management that Ms. D talked about earlier, oh, that's gonna be second nature. You gotta have the time, okay? You gotta have the time. If you see here, it says the number of hours to study, rule of thumb, 2 times the number of hours per week in a class. So let's say you have, each of our classes are Monday, Wednesdays, so that's 2 days. So you meet Mondays and Wednesdays, 2 days. So how many hours should you dedicate to each course? 4 hours. That's what they're saying. My rule of thumb, look and study every day, okay? Balance your time. If you have 4 courses, don't do all or study all 4 courses every day, okay? Take some time. If you have a Monday, Wednesday course, study that course on Mondays and Wednesdays. After you're done with whatever you need to do online, dedicate some time outside. You know what time you work and everything else. Figure out that time, okay? Me, I know my best day to work is probably, you shouldn't work on Sunday, but that's probably my easiest day. It's a Sunday. That's why a lot of the due dates that we have is on Sundays, okay? A lot of people are, you know, resting on that day. So that day would be a good time. But then another day I know for a lot of us is probably gonna be Fridays, because we're not in courses during Fridays, meaning, you know, when you meet physically. So a Friday is good. But we also have, when we ever, if it's gonna look a little different, but one of the things that we do is when the campus actually fully opens back up and our labs are open, our labs are always open. So you can come in here, as long as you're practicing social distancing, you can do your work right here. Students will get out of class, they don't go home. They stay right here, finish their work. They're done for the entire week. But during this time, if you need to access a computer, the computer labs are open. You have to set up a time for that, but you can come on campus to do that. And also with the library, you just need to set up a time. So we're here for you, okay? The last thing, they were like, it may be beneficial to reduce your class load. I'm gonna be honest here. The typical student takes about 4 classes. But a typical student at a 4-year university, you know how many classes that we took? It's usually 6. And it was second nature, okay? But guess what? Only you know your days and times that you're available and what your workload is. Because again, some of you have families, you have full-time jobs. Don't take on more than you can chew. And sometimes we have a tendency to do that. If that's the case, remember, next week is the time to tell us so we can drop you out of that course. Or maybe you might say, hey, you know what? I can do this. I want one more course. Whatever it is, make sure that you tell us. Class participation is very important, even online. Don't get it confused. Just because you're online, hey, I don't have to show up. You must show up. So when we have lecture, if we're gonna have lecture on Tuesday at 9 o'clock, we expect for you to be online Tuesday at 9 o'clock, okay? If not, if something's wrong, you need to make sure you let us know in advance. Otherwise, you know what's gonna happen? We mark you as not present. So please make sure that you understand that. You gotta interact with students. You might say, hey, how can I do that if we're online? Easy. We can see you, you can see us. You know, if we ask a question and someone answers it and you wanna chime in, you wanna add to the wealth of knowledge, do that, okay? And again, remember I said, we do projects over here in this department. You will work with one another, whether we're here physically or even if we're virtual, you will do that. What is active listening? That means I'm listening for information. That means I'm not listening, because sometimes I'll be honest, I'm gonna use myself as an example. When people are talking and it does not apply to me, I often say I hear white noise. I tune you out. When you're in class, you should always be tuned in. You should be listening for information. If something doesn't make sense, you should ask those questions. That's what we expect of you. Acceptable use of technology. It's simple. Don't abuse technology. Technology can be a wonderful thing, but it also can be a horrible thing. And especially when you're in this major. We don't expect for you to use technology to cause hurt or harm to anyone. We don't expect for you to use technology to do anything illegal. We don't expect for you to use technology, believe it or not, to get in contact with somebody that's in the course, because now you're in Remind. We had that where you're flirting in Remind. Look, this is school. It is serious. Don't do that, okay? Sexual harassment is real, and we take that very seriously here on campus. If someone comes to us, whether you are a male or a female, and says someone has violated you or you feel uncomfortable, as soon as someone tells us that, we are legally, hear that word, responsible to report that to campus security and HR. And we will do that, okay? We will do that. We do understand you might feel uncomfortable, but once you divulge that information to us, it is our responsibility to make sure that you are okay, okay? So please make sure that you have that. We already talked about being online and how important that is with your attendance. Because everything is online, I think a lot of us are adhering to the rule. We expect for you to be online when you're supposed to be online, okay? Some of the free resources that we have, I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. I know some of y'all probably already hearing white noise, but you of course have the library, the Student Success Center. Those are actually located in Building B. If you go inside Building B, you can go to where financial aid is. Right across from financial aid is an elevator. If you go inside the elevator, go up to the second floor. As soon as you get out, Student Success Center is right in front of you. If you make a quick left, walk down, that's where you will see the library. So Student Success, TRIO, all that is actually there. Let me talk very carefully and quickly about career development and job placement. And that would kind of, we're gonna end off with this because I wanna take your questions if you have anything. Our job placement rates after graduation is really good, and we wanna keep that up. And the reason why it's really good is us working with the career development and job placement department here on campus. They make it a requirement that you actually register with them. They want to have a copy of your not your syllabus. They want a copy of your resume, the work that you've done or courses that you've taken, because a lot of times you have organizations that will reach out and say, hey, We have a part-time job. We're looking for an entry-level programmer, someone that can do some data entry for us, and they'll come here and reach out to us. So we do have a couple students that during their time or their tenure here, they'll probably also have a job. So it's really important that you make sure that you do that and work on those resumes, and they have a copy of that. But they're really good with that. As soon as they get anything that comes over their desk, they're usually calling us and letting us know, sending us an email. So that's really important. Security is also important as well. If you're not familiar with campus, especially at night, it can get dark in some places. So you want to make sure that you're very, very cautious and careful of that. And another thing I often tell my students, hey, we have an open campus. So all that means is there is no active security that are at any of these entrances. So people can just simply drive off from the interstate and come here on campus. So you got to be cautious of that, okay? It's supposed to be a requirement that you actually wear your ID. We're supposed to have that, okay? So it's really important that you make sure that you always have your student ID. Another thing, your parking passes. Please make sure you get your parking passes for when you're here on campus. You might be able to kind of get away with it for right now, but once everything starts back up and you're here come September the 21st, you want to make sure you have those parking passes. They will give you a ticket if they do not see a parking pass. So please make sure that you do that. With our area, we also have our own computer technology department, Tutor. She usually will help you with anything that you have. Ms. Hodges will be readily available. That's also through the Student Success Center, but she has done a wonderful job with us. Her undergraduate degree is in computer science and math from Claflin University. She also is a former student of our area here within CPT. So she's very, very good with regards to that. If we have any changes and we get assigned another tutor throughout the semester, we will definitely let you know, but we do have tutoring services if necessary, okay? Some of the student organizations that we have, as you see here, the Student Advisory Board. The main thing that we have here within our department is the gaming club. We're kind of changing that a little bit, and we're working with that through Mr. Haley, who's our librarian here. The reason being, if you're like, why is the gaming club working with Mr. Haley in library? Well, we're not open right now. You guys will probably be in the library during that time. And a lot of times we know that the area of gaming has changed. We have students that are in Comic-Con. They like to do the dress up and all this stuff. So they utilize the library because there you have the books and everything else that they can access. So a lot of you have a tendency to congregate in the library. So Mr. Haley is there and has utilized his area for those times. So when we're actually back on campus, you may actually see that. But that has been really the most active club here on campus. We've been the most active club here on campus for the past several years. It was only last year that we kind of weaned off on that. And the reason why we weaned off on that is because, first and foremost, academics is first. So if you guys aren't doing what you need to do academically, we're not going to let you do what you need to do to come in and have gaming competitions. We will stop that. So remember, academics first. Preparing for your future job, and I'm going to end it right here. In this area, it is open. The only thing that limits your possibilities in this field is you. No one else. Everything is on you. We're here to help you. We're here to tell you whether or not it'd be advantageous to get those certifications. We're here to tell you what does that mean, okay? We're here to give you those recommendations, okay? To give you an example of how it's up to you to determine your future, we have the success story that we are on right now, and he has made us so proud, is we have a former student of ours, JD Rast. JD came to us, a shy, meek little guy, and didn't know, he was interested in computers, just didn't know what to do. And he would just kind of linger around the department. And we were like, what is this little guy doing? So one day he finally opened up his mouth, came in, talked to me, and I'm like, JD, you need to come in, take some courses. He did that, and we couldn't get rid of him since. He became our work study student. And through that and his dedication, JD would go above and beyond. He took the initiative to learn things beyond the scope of what he needed to. If I gave him an assignment, I'm like, hey, you gotta go in, I want you to configure this server. Not only would he configure the server, he would do extra stuff that we didn't ask, but he was able to draw more people in. And all those individuals that he worked with now are doing excellent in the field, okay, doing excellent. We have Chandra Priester, that was part of that. She now works for, what's the thing? I can't talk, can't think right now. Down in Aiken, Savannah Riverside. She works for Savannah Riverside as one of the head technicians down there in computers. You have Philip Snyder, who is a remote technician for UPS, dealing with networking and logistics. And JD Ras has changed. He used to be the network administrator for Calhoun County Academy. And you know what he's doing now? He called me a couple of months ago, excited, because now he is the on-site, or one of the on-site IT technician for the Carolina Panthers with an associate's degree, okay? And I need you to understand that. You limit what you do, not us. The world can have some things to say about that, you know, but it's all on you. It's all on you. And we expect great and wonderful things here. And what we want to make sure that we do, again, I'm about half an hour over. They'll be okay. If you know, we're sorry. So at this point, we're going to take it over. I'm going to ask that you guys activate your cameras so we can see you. So again, please activate your cameras. You don't have to unmute it just yet, but we want to see if any of you have any questions. Any questions or comments or concerns that anyone has at all? Now's the time to ask. Remember, it's Wednesday. You have today, Thursday, Friday to get some things together before Monday rolls around, and we're kicking in high gear. So any questions? I see Willie, I see Ebony, I see Nate. Nate is raising his hand. Yes, sir, unmute yourself.
Yes, ma'am. I went to the bookstore the other day and got the textbook that the courses require, and they gave me this, an access code.
Okay.
Do we use this on D2L, or is it an outside website?
What it is that you would actually access that. That is the Cengage Unlimited. And you would use that within your one-on-one. You probably have 101, 104, 170, any of those courses. What that is that actually gives you access to any and all materials that you need with regards to courses that uses Cengage products. It could be a math course, and if they use Cengage, that gives you access to everything that you need. So what would happen is, let me try to get it framed. So what would happen is, you would take that code that you actually have, Nate, and you would click on a link that we'll have within the course, and you would input the product key. So if you open it up, it should give you like a key, a product key or something, or code that's in there. Have you opened it up yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that code that you see there, that's what you would actually input. So what would happen is when you go, like for instance, if you go to our course, I'm gonna share my screen right quick to kind of show you. Now, what I've seen is it may look a little different in some courses where they have it. Ours, come on. Ours is usually located within the content area. Okay. Have to log back in. Okay, it usually would look the same in our area. Again, we don't know how it would look in other areas, but if you go to content, and usually what we'll have, like in this one on mine for the summer, where I said online Mindtap access, is a couple things here. You see where it says getting started with Mindtap? Okay, if you click on that,
Yes,
Nate,
ma'am.
if you click on that, Nate, and the rest of you guys, that would come up with a video to kind of show you how to do that. Okay, it'll go in and tell you exactly how you will, you know, input your product key and everything else. Another good thing is if you click on that, let's say that you don't have your financial aid squared away, you have to pay out of pocket. This will also give you 14 free days from the start of the semester. So you actually can go in and use this for 14 free days. If you can't afford it just yet, that will give you the opportunity to at least get caught up. My recommendation, if that is the case, if you're not like Nate, you hadn't gotten the opportunity to go to the bookstore, you didn't have your funds readily available, go ahead, come Monday, when you log in, when you access Mindtap, again, you have 14 free days. I would go in and I would complete as much work as I can. Typically within our 101 and 170 course, everything is going to be out there for you. So when you log in on Monday, as soon as Monday comes, everything that you have to do for the semester will be there. So knock it out. Knock out as much as you can. That gives you an opportunity until you can get your funds together and actually buy the product. You would have already completed probably more than enough items that you need to, you know, help you out financially until you get those materials. Does that answer your question, Nate?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any more questions? Ebony, Willie, Alberto, Tanisha? Yes.
I'm all great.
Oh, we got some questions in the chat. Let's see. Oh, that's Mr. Willie. We have on the line Mr. Willie Leathers. Mr. Willie Leathers comes to us as one of our full-time lecturers, and he's an adjunct professor for us. Mr. Willie, do you have anything to say?
I just want to wish everybody a very successful semester. And, you know, I think there's a lot of information out there. So don't get confused. You know, if you have any questions about anything, you know, there's enough of us around that you can ask. And I think we can give you the answers to the questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Willie.
And make sure that you understand that on the, they've changed the thing, the actual free days on the introduction to Cengage. It's only 7 days now instead of 14 days that we usually have.
Oh.
Whenever you log in, that 7 days start from the day you actually log in to the course, okay? Or you set up your account, okay?
See, that's why we had to work together as a team. Because if Mr. Willie didn't tell me that, me and Ms. Deepar was thinking it's still 14 days. So 7 days. 7 days. So that tells you.
7 days.
Get that together. Again, when Monday comes, log in and keep doing whatever it is you need to get it done. My suggestion to you, get at least 2 weeks done of work, if not more, to go ahead and knock that out if financial aid is giving you any issues. But like Mr. Willie said, we're here. We're here. We're a no-nonsense department. We like to have fun, okay? because you're gonna see us more than you see your family sometimes, even if it's online or virtually. And the best way to get through with that is through laughter, and for us to be accessible. But at the same time, we're gonna expect for you to do your work. Okay, we're gonna expect for you to do your work. You're dealing with people that have come from the private sector, and you're dealing with Ms. D and Mr. Willie D. You talk about ex-military people. They're on a whole other level. I don't know if you can tell, but they're on a whole other level. Okay, they look nice and everything now, but sometimes they get on me, and it makes me scared. But they're here for us. We're here for you. And again, if you're not here, we're not here. So we value you. That's first and foremost. I don't care what anyone says. You can't find, I'm sure other departments are nice. I'm trying to tell you, you're not gonna be better in a better department than us. We work together, we tag team it out. We stay on you, but that's what we're supposed to do. And that's what's good. But we expect the same from you. You know, it'd be times out there, I had my students like, Ms. Saint, you got the wrong date out there. Oh my God. Thank you. You're here to tell us what we need to know. So we're in this together. All right. Any other questions? Comments, concerns? Kayla, I know you just got on. I don't know if you can hear. You just got on. If at any time that you have, or any of you have any questions that you need, please make sure you reach out to us. Go to our classrooms, or if all of you should probably have a course with one of us. If not, please make sure you go to OC Tech's website to the directory, and you can get in contact with us. If you have something to write or jot down our numbers, our office numbers are automatically directed to our cell phones. So if you need us, if you call our office, it's going to ring on our cell phone, okay? So if you need Ms. D, Ms. D's office number is area code 803-535-1320. Again, Ms. D's number is 803-535-1320. My office number is area code 803-535-1391. Again, my office number is 803-535-1391. Mr. Willie, do you want to give them your number where you can be reached?
Yeah, 803-736-4439.
Okay. And again, all of us are readily accessible, waiting on you for any questions that you may have. Don't hesitate to ask us. We can't help you if we don't know what the questions are. If you don't, in the meantime, we can't wait to see you virtually on Monday. Please make sure that you look at the courses throughout this time. We'll be adding stuff, deleting stuff. The only thing that you can see now should be on all of our courses, probably like the very first page in the syllabus with some of that. That'll be changing. So if you don't see, don't worry about it. I promise you, it's going to be out there. If you're missing anything, let us know. And not only in our course, in any of your other professor courses, make sure you reach out to them if something, you think something should be there and it's not there. Because sometimes we'll think what we see is what you see, and that might not be the case. Don't panic. Get in contact with whomever your instructor is. That's what we are here for. Because again, remember, we're adding materials as we go along. We know that this is different because of this pandemic, but we're here if you need us. Again, one more time, are all hearts and minds clear? Okay, so I think that's fine. Ms. D and I will sign off. Good luck this semester. Again, if you need us, get in contact with us. And that will be it. And again, after this, reach out to us and we'll make sure that we answer any questions that you may have. Otherwise than that, good luck. Enjoy your weekend. Have fun. All right, bye-bye.